Welcome to All Classic Car, and here we've got a collection of 120 plus photographs of classic caravans, historic campervans, caravanettes and motorhomes. And we begin with photograph number 1, which is of a Fisher Hollivan Standard, circa 1970, new for £197. I've numbered each photograph because I'm going to need some help with identifying the various caravans that are in this video. Number 2 is a Wessex Craftsman. This is a little folding caravan from 1954. There's a Series 1 Land Rover alongside it. Like I say, many of these caravans I can't really help with the identifications of, so if you can, please pop a note into the comments referring back to the number of the photograph in question. There's another photo of the little Wessex Craftsman and its Series 1 Land Rover tow vehicle. Next, another little folder on a, what's that, a Clino alongside it, KP650. This is a 1926 Rice folding caravan. It was designed for being towed behind a small car or even a motorcycle and sidecar. Same with this interesting little vehicle. The ends are hardboard and the main body is clad in aluminium. I had this a few years ago. I found it online for sale and thought it'd be a good idea to rescue it. I'm not quite sure what age it is. It's certainly a pre-war caravan, probably 1930s, early 1930s, judging by those skinny little wheels. But if you can add any information, same with this one from the 1950s. If you know any more about these little caravans, please let me know in the comments section. Here's the first of the motorhomes, or classic campervans, whatever you want to call them. This is a Leyland Sherpa T registration, so that's about 1978 or 79. And a gathering of VW campers, bay windows in this case. The earliest one nearer the camera, slightly later one further away. The indicators are in a different position on the front panel. Another classic caravan, number 8. This is a Regency, fiberglass bodied from the 1970s, I would guess. Another classic caravanette, E-Reg, so what's that, about 1986, 87, yeah, 1987, this was spotted at Steam Rally in 2021, very useful for a weekend away. Lovely old Volvo 164 here, towing a caravan, but what is the caravan? I'm guessing 1970s, late 60s, early 70s. This mighty machine, T registration, so 1978, is a Winnebago, registered in May of 79 in fact. It's a Granada Mark 1 in the background, we'll see that a little later. Classic Range Rover here with a caravan on the back. I'm guessing, is that a Royale? Like I say, I don't know a great deal about these caravans other than odd little snippets that I picked up over the years. This one's got the information on the back. A Bertram Hutchings Lady Nimble, 1924. Beautiful vintage caravan on artillery wheels and leaded windows. A Comma PB from about 1972. If you know who actually did this camper conversion, please let me know. A Barcast B1000, this was spotted at Donington Park. I also saw this again a few years later at Llandudno at the Steam Rally there. G registration, these are 3-cylinder 2-stroke engine. Mercedes 123 towing what caravan? There's various other caravans in the background there, but what's the one that the 123 is pulling? A gathering of campervans here. We've got several Bedford CFs and a pale blue Mark 1 Transit, a Bedford CA, and then another CF in the distance. Quite a gathering. Lovely living van. This would have been towed behind a large lorry to various fairs and circuses usually. 19 is an Austin 152 based campervan, this one from 1967, e-registration ran from January to July of that year only. A nice old caravan, possibly a Royale. First of 2 photos of a fantastic vintage caravan here, but I don't know anything about this one at all. It's a lovely looking little van. But if you can shed light on it, confirm who made this one perhaps, that would be great. Love the solid disc wheels and the little reflectors on the back. The VW, and in the background a gathering of Bedford CAs, 2 campers and what looks like a Worko bus on the left, just hiding on the left there. Another comma PB, this G-Reg one from 1968. There's a Mark 1 Transit alongside it. This beauty certainly used to be a regular at many of the shows around here. 1933 Winchester. Beautiful pre-war caravan. Presumably it's still around somewhere, but these photos were taken quite a while ago. There's a rear view of it behind the Series 1 Landy. Another living van on the back of a magnificent Leyland Super Comet USJ 645. One of several period images now that on the main old classic car website. There's a campsite, probably in the 1930s or 1940s at Bewdley, all manner of caravans and converted vehicles there. Another period photo, this is of a Berkeley Baronet from the late 1940s, aluminium body by the look of it. There was a surplus of aluminium around at the time following World War II. And to fiberglass now, we've got a portafold. I used to have one of these. This one's got the fins on the roof. You can just make those out. The later ones didn't have the fins on the roof. Early ones had a tubular chassis and the later ones were a box. To Tatton Park Classic Car Show, we've got a really smart Sunbeam Rapier convertible here. And this one is towing a Carlight caravan. Another living van here. This was at the Smallwood Vintage Rally in the mid-2000s, I believe. Lovely old Foden pulling it. 31 is a Cheltenham, I'm guessing early 1970s. This magnificent machine. At first I thought this may be a converted ambulance, but I think it is a camper, based on an Austin Princess, F registration, so late 1960s. There's a rear view of the same vehicle. I think if it had been an ambulance it would have had twin rear doors, but as there's only a single door, I'm guessing it's probably a camper from new. Fantastic vehicle. Photo 33 is of a pre-war Eccles caravan. Next up, 34 is a campervan, a motorhome, based on the BMC JU 250 chassis. Lovely old Winchester here, this one from 1934. Very historic old caravan, this one. Mark 1 Transit camper here, and an interesting trailer on the back carrying all the provisions. If you recognise any of the camper vans or caravans in this video, please pop a note and say hello in the comments section. Or if you remember staying in some of these caravans, that'd be great to hear about too. There's a Mark 1 Granada towing, I'm not quite sure what, a fairly simple looking caravan, 1970s. 38 is another pop-top VW bay window camper. $39, I'm not quite sure what this one is. Is it another Royale? This is a Viking Fiberline because it's fiberglass bodywork. A dinky little van alongside a VW Beetle. That's another example of the Fisher Holly van. Another portafold here. This one slightly later than the previous one, no fins on the roof of this one. Later ones were later still were called the Answer Fold, I believe. Another historic photo now from the Old Classic Car site. I know absolutely nothing about this caravan. Is it a homemade one, possibly? Does anyone recognise the registration lettering on there? Doesn't look familiar to me. We've got a G-Wagon Mercedes here, but what's that alongside? I suspect it's a Royale. We've got another one another camper based on the A55 Austin or Morris. This one K-Reg from 1971 or 1972. This used to be a regular at the shows around here. Split window VW next. One of my favourites, definitely an early Bedford CA. This is a Mark 1 CA with the porthole rear side window. One of the most desirable of the classic campers around nowadays. Down to Gaydon, the British Motor Museum, we've got this mighty Winchester. This is a 1935 example, huge caravan. Another car light. I've seen a few of those in this video already, I think. This was at a sale at Donington Park, mainly lorries, but there were a few caravans dotted about. Another of the Austin or Morris based campers here from 1969. Again, this was at a sale at Donington. Down to Malvern, I believe this was, and we've got a two-tone Austin based on the JU250 chassis, this one from 1967. To Tatton Park in the mid-2000s, and this marina-based camper drove by, and I was just about able to grab a snap of it as it drove past. Another very smart caravan here. I'm guessing that's a car light. Yep, there's a badge on the front there. Very classy looking caravan indeed. A couple of others here. We've got a CA and a Bedford CF motorhomes. Still plenty to go. The Austin at the top left was built by someone I knew quite well, based on a vintage Austin chassis. The one in the middle I'm guessing is an Eccles. And we've got a Bedford CA Dormobile to the right. Very smart Austin 152 here, YKW 870, two-tone brown, very smart, seen at Gaydon, British Motor Museum at one of their commercial vehicle gatherings, as was this Austin 152, two-tone green example with a pop-up roof. Back to the pre-war years, and a slightly agricultural looking caravan here on artillery style wheels, very much 1920s in date I would have thought. To the 1970s, mid-1970s, we've got a Bedford CF based camper van here. We spotted this in Portugal, a Mercedes based camper, quite an impressive looking beast, but I don't know anything about it unfortunately. This we saw many years ago in North Wales near Beaumaris, I think it was, a Toyota from the early 1970s. This mighty creation, photo number 65, is at the Lakeland Motor Museum. Another Mercedes, this one looking a little worse for wear, a T-Reg example from late 1978 or early 1979. We saw this in Wales, but I forget where exactly. Probably about 20 years ago now. Two photos now of a Burlingham. This is at the Lakeland Motor Museum on display there. Guessing that's pre-war or possibly just late 1940s. There's an interior view showing the fine furnishings inside, typical of the caravans of that era. All proper wood. Back to Commer, we've got another PB, this one from late 68 or early 1969. If you know who did this conversion, please let me know. Many were done by Martin Walter, but I'm not sure about that one. Another period shot now of a family and their caravan, the car just on the left there, but if you can add any details on what we're looking at here, that'd be great, please. Another split screen VW, certainly one of the most popular and the most sought after of the motorhomes and caravanettes nowadays. This we spotted in Portugal a few years ago, but it's not a Portuguese registration, the Mark II Ford Transit base. But more than that, I do not know. With a trio of photos, there's a Viking Fiberline at the top left at an early Goodwood revival, the Morris J2 and a standard Atlas based caravanette. Fantastic. To Weston Park and a classic car show there a little while ago. We got a Hillman Super Minx from 1966 and a slightly earlier caravan. But who made that one? I'm not quite sure either. 76, this is a Starcraft loosely based around the Ford Cortina. Quite the machine. There's a rear three-quarter view of another example. Very 1970s in style and build, of course. Continuing with these historic caravans and campers, we've got photo 78. This is a 1971 Cheltenham. Photo 79. This is another example of a Fisher. There's another one that I need help identifying, possibly a Bluebird, but I'm sure someone will know for sure. Rover P6 alongside it. This is one of my favourites of this entire collection, a wonderful little Bluebird Skylark. I love the leading on the windows and just the overall look, the size of it. I think that's just a beautiful little caravan. There it is, leaded windows at the front as well. Just such a sweet little thing. And the Bedford CF, L registration example this time, from late 72 or early 73. The motorhome, this one based on the Bedford CA. This is a fairly late example of the breed, from 68, 1969 or thereabouts. All fiberglass body, rear of the front wings. And a Wild Goose, quite a wild looking caravan indeed. We've got a mini based Wild Goose coming up a little bit later in this collection of photographs. And just a general scene of a caravan club, period caravan club meeting at, I think, Weston Park. This was also at Weston Park. It's an Austin or Morris J4 based camper, just driving into the showground. Got a handsome looking machine based on the Ford Transit Mark 1, bit of wood effect down the side, very 1970s, K-Reg, so about 1971. There's another one of those Bedford CAs, a fairly late example with the fiberglass rear body. Certainly maximising the interior space with that body. Another one of my favourites, this beauty was spotted at Bicester just a few years ago. Does anyone know what that little caravan is? It's a Citroen Traction Avant that's pulling it, but what's the caravan? I think it's just beautiful. To the Aldridge Transport Museum, I did a video there a little while ago. Here's a Morris J2 based camper just being refurbished. It's a Capesthorne Classic Car Show in 2021, and we saw this great little Renault Estafette. Another interesting little camper that we spotted at Capesthorne is this Rancher, a Rickman Rancher, fiberglass bodied home-built kit car camper van. Another period photo now, photo 93, I'm guessing that's probably an Eccles, very much 1920s. This one I spotted down at Malvern in the mid-2000s, but I've got no information about it. It appears to have some sort of fabric roof, but it doesn't look like a folding caravan, so if you can tell me what that is, that'd be great. Another CF Mark 1 here, Bedford, circa 1969-1970. Still plenty of old caravans and campers to go. This little Fleetwind actually was pulled out of a building by a neighbour. I could probably have had that, but I didn't really want a caravan at the time. Hopefully it went on to be rescued because it had been in dry storage for a long time. This beauty is a Bedford Coachworks Limited camper van, circa 1962. These little teardrop caravans are very popular now. Here's an oddball, I think it's French. This is the Fleurette, with a Renault 4 parked in front of it. Whether it did the towing or not, I don't know, but certainly in front of it. Also down at Malvern many years ago, we saw this Thames Trader-based vehicles. What this started out life as, I'm not quite sure, but it's been converted into a motorhome of some kind. Same with this Austin, based on this BMC FG chassis. Has this always been a camper van, or did it start out life as something else? Answers on a postcard, please. Again, this is one that wants identifying. It could even be a home built. Looks fairly simple. That's the kind of thing that would often appear in like Practical Mechanics as a sort of build your own caravan feature. This beauty was also down at Malvern. Does anyone know what this is? It looks like 1940s, quite a sleek looking shape. Also at Malvern, it was obviously quite a good caravan turnout when we went to this particular show years ago. This is a Willoughby Junior from 1948. This was a separate event down at Malvern, a Mark 1 Escort-based camper with a lift-up roof. Who did that conversion? Was that a Martin Walter job? This is a real beauty, KR5214. This is based on the 1930 Morris Oxford, a caravanette conversion. Fantastic looking vehicle. This interesting little caravan is down at the Llangollen Motor Museum. I don't have any details on who built it, but it's quite a sweet little thing. Photo 107 is of 744FXW. This is a May 63, PB with the 1725cc Roots engine hidden away between the front seats. This was a spot that we did about 20 years ago probably, the remains of a Morris Minor, and what looks like maybe a home-built caravan decaying slowly alongside it. Another really nice example of a split-window VW campervan now. A couple of interesting caravans here, one towed by a Triumph 2000 and the other by a Rover P6, but can you identify the caravans? Another interesting trio here, we've got a 64 Land Rover at the top, another Leyland Sherpa, and another example of the VW split screen. This oddball we saw down at Sywell, I think it was, number 114. This is a 1962 400e Thames based caravanette. Roof very similar to the Morris J2 that we saw before. Here's the Mini Wild Goose that I referred to earlier, based on the 67 Mini. Down at the Morgan Museum, down in Kent, we spotted this fantastic little Bampton expanding caravan from the mid-1930s. There's two photos now of a lovely little aluminium caravan. This one dates to 1939. It's a Thompson Dart. What a bonny little caravan that is. Just a few more to go. Down to the NEC, we've got this wonderful Bedford CA Dormobile with the lift-up camper roof. Great old survivor, very much in demand now, these old camper vans. Two photos now of an American Dodge of the early 1970s. Certainly a very impressive looking machine. Explorer, it says on the front door there. That certainly looks like a very comfortable way to travel around. To round out this collection of classic and historic caravans and campervans, motorhomes, we've got a CA, another Portafold, VW and a VW. And that completes this collection of over 120 photographs of historic caravans, campervans, motorhomes and so on. I hope that was of interest. Please check out some of the other videos that are now on the channel, and there'll be more videos along very, very soon. So bye for now.